my shiny head. So
here you go. Highlights of the All Star Game were Joe's barbecue. And Joe's barbecue was the #1 highlight for me of that weekend. But no, it was the hospitality of the Kansas City Comets. Getting to meet all the players and all the owners and talking to everyone was like once in a lifetime thing. Hopefully not once in a lifetime thing, but kind of a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, it was just so. I mean, we sat in the hotel room every single night and we're like, is this really happening? Like,
right.
Especially Saturday. Like Saturday was like the peak. Like you guys saw what we did, and if you haven't seen it, well, A, what's wrong with you, and B, look back at the videos, at the lives we did. But just being around the guys during warm-ups and just watching two different, going back to the warm-ups on Saturday, there were two different, it felt like two different warm-ups going on. Like we saw the East doing like 5v2s, and we saw the West like basically playing like a scrimmage.
The West had, so how many people were on the West team? 20 minus Frank, maybe 15, 16. So it was like either a 7-on-7 or 8-on-8 for half field scrimmage, full out. Like, I don't know if there were slide tackles, but it was full on, contact passing, super fast shots. Waltman was in goal. Toth was on the field. That was cool. And I kind of feel bad for the guys in the East because we showed up. We walked in the first video I posted where Max's back was to me was on the side that we walked in on the arena, and then we kind of saw what was going on the West side, and we kind of went to the middle, and then kind of just gravitated towards watching the West guys more. East guys did more of a traditional, what I would consider a warm up, and the West guys were like, "Well, we're here. Let's see what we got," and just played like.
Yeah, and then afterwards, the East kind of opened it up and played sort of a scrimmage. It was an all-in, as they called it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the West team left, and the East used the whole field and did a scrimmage.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I saw what was coming that night. Like Danny Waltman was lights out during warm-ups. Like it was insane just watching it because like we were saying, they're playing a scrimmage. And he's all-time goalie, and he's just stopping everything. And so you knew that if he was playing, and I watched the Tacoma Stars live thing tonight, he wasn't sure if he was going to play. He was perfectly content staying on the bench.
Yeah.
And I talked to him. Actually, I talked to him after the game, and he was like, "Yeah, Toth was hot, man." Like I'm like, but you were
won the MVP.
Even hotter. What?
Well, that's so. If anyone who hasn't met Danny Waltman in person, he's even more laid back than you would think he would be. And I think for a position like goalkeeper, that's a huge advantage for him because he probably doesn't tense up. He probably just lets his body just react. Because if you tense up before you make a dive or whatever, you're gonna hesitate for a second. And he probably just lets his body take him all around the field, and we saw that. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was definitely a sight to see. Toth and Waltman. I mean, they both played great.
Toth, I think I talked about it at some point. Toth had a save. Actually, I was probably talking about it to the players, but Toth had a save where he was screened by like 3 guys, and he was facing the wrong way, and he stuck his right leg out and made the save with like the tip of his toenail. And I have no idea how he even saw it or what even happened. I don't think he saw the ball until it cleared all 3 guys that screened him. And then the only thing he could do was react, or stick his foot out, and perfect save. Otherwise, the goal was wide open.
Yep.
And then Waltman was just Waltman. I mean, that was the reason I hated him playing with the Comets. Hated playing against them, I should say. But yeah, it was cool to talk to those guys afterwards. Toth, one of the Toth's first thing he said is, nobody's saying anything about the goal I gave up because that was just really bad. And it's it's the goalie who plays a near perfect game but only thinks about the one mistake he made. But he's a pro, and he didn't let it affect his play at all. he just afterwards, he's like, oh, I can't believe I let that through.
No one saw that, right?
Yeah. Oh, with the fog.
That's pretty much what he told us.
So yeah, the fog was interesting. We talked to Eileen. Oh, Chris wants to know, anyone else's feed kept repeating. Mine is doing it over and over. Is it still for you? Mean for our feed right now, or for the feed that you watched on pay-per-view for the All Star Game? Because I am watching it on the side and it's not doing that over and over. At least I don't think it is. Let me turn the volume up a second. That was interesting.
I'm not watching it, so I couldn't tell you what's going on.
Yeah, no, it's. So yeah, so we talked to Eileen. She's a Comets season ticket holder, and she said that usually the first game in every season they have the fog machine just completely out of control, and they have to wait a little bit. And then as it gets on, they remember how to use it. You know, it's like, oh, we haven't used this thing in 9 months. What do we do? I don't know. Hit the button and walk away. Okay, let's do that. And then they realize, oh, we can't let it run full blast at 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was. It was
bad.
It was pretty interesting to see it up close and personal, and then watching it afterwards the next day.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that overhead camera, those, I mean, HD cameras are pretty amazing. There's a lot of, you know, we've seen like NFL football where they say, oh, all the lights are out in the stadium and it looks just fine. You're like, no, the HD cameras pick up a lot and they compensate for that, but it's really like pitch black in here. That's kind of how I thought the camera looked. The overhead camera looked fine and you could see everything. You could see almost like it was looking through clouds or whatever. If you go on, if you look at the broadcast, there was a couple of views from like the field view where it was like the complete fog, like that movie from the 70s or whatever. And that's what it looked like in there for us. I couldn't see Toth for halfway through the first quarter. And when they said, okay, we're ready to play, we're just going to play, I was like, what? This doesn't really look any better than it did when you said you couldn't play. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was an interesting first part of the first quarter with the fog playing a role in that.
My suggestion was,
but it cleared up pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, you got a yellow ball, you give everyone reflective stripes, and you keep the fog machine on through the whole game.
That's fine with me.
You can do like Milwaukee did with their goals and put the bright neon, you know, yellow tape across, or Muskegon did like a bright green. You could do that. You could line.
We'd have to make a rule change. It's supposed to be white. Like, isn't that in the rules? It's supposed to be white.
It's supposed to be red, actually.
Oh, is it red?
Yeah, in the rules, it's supposed to be red.
Yeah, Utica's is blue and Baltimore's is a different color, I think. But
yeah. Oh, well. And that rule doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Like if you're not going to have technology that has to feed off of the red paint, then it doesn't matter. If that's even a thing, I just made that up right now.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the whole experience, like meeting the guys, like having the guys come up to us and saying like, we watch the show, we know what you do, we like what you do. That in itself is just the reason why I love this league so much. It's the MASL family.
Yes. Yeah. So Cliff and Lucy were there. Got to eat lunch with them on Friday and hang out with them, and actually 2 nights in a row. Got to eat lunch with them on Friday and dinner. It was dinner on Saturday before the game.
Yep.
So Saturday night, the Chiefs stayed at the same Kansas City Chiefs stayed at the same hotel we were at, and Cliff said there was like $10 million worth of cars out in the parking lot. And they saw 3 guys playing around with these remote control cars. And they went up to him just to kind of, hey, we're fans. Are you guys players? We don't know who you are or anything. We would let you know, just want to say hi. And he said they were very like looking around, off-putting, you know, didn't want to have anything to do with them. Very blunt, very rude. Didn't want to have anything to do with any fans at all. And then you walk inside and you got player that I didn't even really know in person. Come on. Cliff just said turn left. We'll make fun of Lucy a little bit in a second, but having the players come up and go, guys, I really like what you're doing on your show. I watch it every week. And it's like, I mean, I know the player by name, but I don't know them by face. We may not even be friends on, Facebook or whatever. That was pretty surreal.
Yeah.
Kind of fanboying a lot. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we fanboyed Saturday night
mhm,
after the game. So after the game, um, we were invited to a little get together with a few of the players and some owners and just fans in general. And it's kind of a segue into an announcement that I'm going to make. Yeah, one of these weeks we are going to have Brian Farber from the San Diego Sockers.
yes.
We got to talking about the design of the ball, the flight ball, and he was huge in designing it and testing it. And I mean, it was a great story. And like I said, we sat and talked for 20 minutes about it. And
Mm.
he's wanting to come on the show and kind of give you guys the inside on that as well. So yeah, I got to talk to him for 20 minutes and Danny, and we met Shelly Clark.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, we stayed up until what, 2 a.m. Central.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was, but I mean, it was pretty neat. If you guys, I posted all the pictures from that night. Yeah, met Chris Toth, never had met him. I mean, all of the guys most of the guys I'd met, but
I have a unique enough name that I would expect people to maybe recognize my name, but for them to come up and say, when we have masks on and I can't tell who's who. Oh, hey, Adam, really love watching your show. Like, wow, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
So I geeked out on that.
And then, I mean, the ultimate geekdom was going up to the press box during the third quarter.
Yeah. So in the third quarter, right before and as the big goal was scored by Serta, and we'll get into that. I want to ask you a question on that. We went up there, and because of COVID, they couldn't have us on the show. In fact, it was kind of funny. Soccer Sam kind of was put on the show without anyone really realizing what was going on. But if in a non-COVID time, we would have gotten headsets and we would have gotten able to go on the show and everything, or shared a headset or something, figured something out. Sorry, Gio. Gio says he's so sad he missed this. But as Eric and Nick were talking about, guys from MASL in the box, I was standing right next to Eric, and that little video clip that I posted about all-star announcers was when we were right there next to him. And
that's exactly when the Serta goal happened.
Right. So speaking of which, best goal from the All-Star game. I picked the Serta goal. You can't. No, actually, I don't.
No, I'm going to go on the East. I'm going to say Elton de Oliveira's goal was pretty good.
That was what I was going to pick. I thought
either that one or Dom Francis, either one. But Elton de Oliveira kind of like took it between his legs and juked the daylights out of the defender and just.
Yeah, Vinny de Elton. So it was the wall pass too. It's like everything indoor soccer is about. You get the wall pass square, which doesn't happen very often at all. That's like a once in a half a season type play for a team. And then Elton dummying it to himself and shooting, that was cool. Dom's is good as well. Serta's was good. I don't the only one that wasn't good was the one on Toth, and Nate, congratulations on that one, but I think that was the only one that wasn't really a good goal. Everything else was decent. You had the Max to Ian, the last goal of the game. There were, the empty netters I don't really consider in there because that's just part of the sixth attacker. They had the weird Pino goal that San Diego posted as this great big highlight that didn't make any sense at all. Because so here's what happened. When whoever was running with the ball down the sideline got fouled by an East player right about midfield there. And then they went down, they missed the shot, and then in the corner where there was another foul, what they did is they played advantage on the first foul and then pulled the ball back to the original foul spot, and nobody had any idea what was going on, and they just took the shot and scored up 5
Even though
goals.
there's like an East player like literally on the ball.
It was Ian. And if you look closely at that, he sticks his left foot out trying to block the kick. He's like 2 feet from the ball and he sticks his foot out because he doesn't know what's going on. But so I think there were some preseason communication issues there. Not putting any blame on anyone. I mean, it didn't affect the game. It's not going to be anything game changer or anything like that. Shelly says Max and Ian got to play the last game together since COVID ended the season early. Epic moment for both those guys. Absolutely. It made all of us East fans, and granted, and Matt, you can attest to this. We clapped for every goal. I stood up for the East goals.
Yep.
And we clapped for all the West goals. So we were fans of the game there, literally. And
yeah, exactly. And that was the beauty of it. I mean, most of the time I go to a game and my team is playing.
Yep.
And this game, it was wide open. I'm like, it's not Utica City, although there were a couple of guys from Utica on the team, but I'm like, I'm a fan of the sport. So, yeah.
Cheering Danny's saves, cheering Toth saves, cheering
The
Vitola
Dogs
saves. I mean,
frisbee
yeah.
at halftime, Farber catching the frisbee at halftime, which I found out was planned.
Yeah, that was planned. And it didn't make the broadcast. We missed it by like 10 seconds. Eric did talk about it on the broadcast.
I will say Saturday night after the game, staying up until 2:00 and just talking to everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, we sat and talked to Shelly for a good half an hour. It was the two of us, Lucy and Cliff,
Yeah.
Shelly, and her husband.
Yeah.
And we're all just standing or sitting around talking.
What about this moment? So, and I'm not going to leave this on because it's going to make people sick.
I think that whole thing. So we should probably explain like the entire thing because that's just a snippet of what happened.
So yeah, you want to take it.
All right, so we go on last Friday around this time, right?
Yep.
So we mentioned, hey, if you want to come over and say hi, we're in room 222. So we go off the air and we found Impractical Jokers, which we watched every day while we were there.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we hear a knock on the door. And I'm not getting up. So Adam gets up, looks around, doesn't see anything.
This is 10:30 p.m. or whatever, because we were on until after 10 p.m. So
Yeah.
this is 10:30 p.m., which it's not a big deal. So I look around,
Yeah.
like, we're being ding dong ditched.
Yep. And we actually thought it was, I'm going to admit, I thought it was Lucy.
Oh, I didn't.
I thought it was her. Because, I mean, they're right next door and they have whatever. So about 5 minutes later, we get another knock. And Adam's not getting up. I'm not getting up. And Adam goes, I'm not getting up. And they leave. So then it happens again. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to be smart about this. I'm going to look out the peephole and see if I can catch them in the act. So I was out there for like a good 2-3 minutes. I'm like, nothing's going on.
And then you leave.
And then I leave and I go back in bed. And the next minute, a knock on the door. And I like jump up and I look and I'm like,
yeah.
So
twice, 2 times you did that.
Yeah, it was twice.
Yeah.
So the next morning, all the talk in the lobby of the Stony Creek Inn was who done it.
Yeah. Now I thought this was a Nick Pereira thing because we saw him earlier that day in the hotel. And I know, they tune into the shows and things like that. I figured he was just like, hey guys, anytime you go past this room, just knock and take off as a joke. And that's who I thought it was. So I thought it wasn't any one person in particular. I thought it was just multiple people doing it.
Yeah. So we didn't even have to bring it up. So Elton de Oliveira came up to us. We're like sitting downstairs. I'm having coffee, and it was like right before warm-ups, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, boy, do you guys know who did that to you last night? I can't believe someone did that to you last night. Next thing you know, he's throwing Vanzella under the bus. It was great. So it was like a couple minutes later, Vanzella comes out and we're both like, so you got something to tell us? And he's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. And he has this goofy smile on his face the whole time. And then eventually he threw Elton under the bus.
Yep.
So we got the two guys thrown, and then some anonymous person sent us the video. So we got the video of that thing. So we kind of matched up the fact that we only saw one person with a white hoodie that entire weekend.
Yep. And although he did say a lot of other people own white hoodies.
In the world, that is a very true statement. I will agree with that. A lot of people
and then we had Vinny Dantas was also playing detective as well, and helped us out on the case, basically throwing Vanzella under the bus as well.
Oh, yeah.
And to this day, he still hasn't really admitted to it.
No, but so for me, I see it as a, and I may be completely wrong, maybe just messing with us. I see it as kind of a sign of, if I'm going to play a joke on someone, it's someone that I like, someone that I don't like. I won't go and play a prank on someone I don't care for. So I saw it as like a compliment.
Yeah, I loved it, and that's it. It was great, and if we had thought about it, we were thinking about maybe like Saturday night or yeah, definitely Saturday night, ordering a pizza and having it delivered to Vanzella's room.
Yeah. We should have done that.
Yeah, we should have.
We also dropped the ball completely on something, and I can't believe we didn't do this. Sonic sells corn dogs, and they deliver. And we didn't take advantage of that at all over the whole weekend.
And the thing is, I sent him. We're laying in bed. It was Sunday morning.
Separate beds. Why don't we clarify that?
Yep, separate beds. So was it Sunday morning? I sent you that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I sent him the corn dog thing. It was on DoorDash, and he just starts laughing. I'm like, we should.
Can't believe we didn't send go to the group and say, hey, we need a GoFundMe. We'll explain everything later, and send 100 corn dogs to a certain person. That would have been incredible.
Yeah. So some other highlights. I think my flight from Chicago to Kansas City was pretty nice. Having most of the East guys on it.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting Dominic Francis and Elton de Oliveira for the first time. Ironically enough, those are the two jerseys I'm getting next week. So it's kind of interesting. But that flight was great. Dinner Sunday night. That was pretty cool.
Dinner Sunday night. We took Eric Bergerud out to dinner at Jack's Deck Barbecue. Another great barbecue place. Although if you had to choose just one, I would choose Joe's over that. Here's
the thing. The ribs at Joe's were amazing.
Yeah.
The sandwich I had at Jack Stack, that was really good. Well, but that cheesy corn thing was really good.
Yeah. It depends on what kind of atmosphere you want. The Joe's was literally next to a gas station. And it was a setup like if you've been into a Dickey's or a Mission Barbecue or any of those kind of places where you walk up and you tell them your order and they give you your stuff. Whereas Jack Stack was a sit down restaurant atmosphere type place. Perfect for talking indoor soccer after the whole weekend. So that was great. That was great. And then I took Tuesday off of work. Yeah, you guys, Cliff and Matt had beers in line at Joe's.
Yes, we did. Yep. It was a one beer wait.
Yeah, they strategically put the bar when you walk in the door, and then you have to go through the line to get to your food. So somebody put some thought into that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just being there was great. Being able to like cover the game.
Hmm.
Uh,
This is one of the first things. This is one of the first things I've done this year. I haven't gone grocery shopping more than 2 or 3 times when I've had to pick up just 1 or 2 things. I haven't gone to like our regular weekly, Walmart shopping or anything or going. And I mean, for 2 weeks before the game, I really didn't go anywhere. But even I've been home for the whole time, and I know you've been out every day working, but I've been working from home. And working from home, I started this new YouTube channel. I do a bunch of stuff for my band and mixing and just playing music. I'm at my computer 12 to 15 hours a day, and it just, and when I'm not, I'm just kind of like on the couch vegetating because I don't want to do anything else. So we haven't really done anything. So for me, for taking this trip was a jump. And up until a couple of days before, I was like, if things got canceled, I wouldn't be all that upset. I mean, I would be, but it would almost be as much of a relief as I would be upset. And I'm glad I still went. I hung around at Milwaukee Airport. I'm sitting there and I'm looking up and I see someone that kind of looks like it might be Ian, but he has like a hoodie and a hat on and he's kind of hunched over, and sent him a message. I'm like, "Hey, are you in the airport?" He's like, "Yep." I'm like, "Look to your right." And the second I sent that, a bunch of pilots stood right in front of me. I'm like, so I saw Alex Bradley come in, and then I went over by them. So, we just talked and everything. Sat in the same aisle as Alex on the plane. I was on the aisle, I was on the window, and he was in the aisle seat. And then Saturday night, found out that he tested positive and was sent right back home. So no symptoms. It's been 7 days now, so I'm in the clear. But that was a little terrifying for a little bit. But then I figured nothing's going to get solved this weekend, so I can't let this affect my my fun for the weekend and everything. So Shelly says, "Thanks for doing these shows, guys. I'm checking out as she has a busy day tomorrow." 2 o'clock Central, Ambush versus Wings. Shelly, I already have my pass purchased, and I will start swearing at the TV and getting things set up at 1:30, and we will talk about that whole experience in a little bit here. But thank you for meeting us in KC. Thanks for all the time. Thanks for being
that
on the
moonshine
show.
was really good. Oh my
Oh
God.
yeah, what was it? Apple pie and root beer.
Apple pie and root beer. And it's funny, I got Danny Waltman and I were talking, and we're drinking her moonshine. So it was
See,
pretty
I'm
good.
I'm not. Everyone knows I'm not a drinker, but I had one of my handful of drinks for the year on
So
Saturday
do we
night.
tell them? We should tell them about that. So
Oh yeah,
before the show on Friday night, we are just hanging out, kind of decompressing from airplane and whatever.
and barbecue.
And we're watching Impractical Jokers, of course, and we get a message from Brian Budzinski from the KC Comments, and he's like, if you guys want to come down to, what was it, McCoy's? Is that the name of it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, the bar. I'll buy you a drink. It literally took us 2 minutes to go from our room down to the bar.
So you guys seen like the cartoons where like the guy's on the phone and somebody says, "Okay, come right over," and he leaves and he's like there, but the phone is still in midair. That's how fast. That's how fast we were getting.
Yeah, and that's another thing that we did. So we got to talk to Brian, we got to talk to Lane Smith, and we got to actually see behind the scenes of what was going on. So we got to see the room where the players were being tested. We got to see the room where all of the auction stuff was, the balls and everything. And it's kind of funny. They were showing a soccer game, indoor soccer game, in the room. It was on a projector. And yeah, Brian's like, "I've been in here all day," and I'm like, "Oh my God, that's so awesome! I wish we could have done that." But the game was Baltimore Utica.
Yep.
Unfortunately for Baltimore fans, that was the game you lost in overtime.
I'm grabbing a picture here. See if this works.
Well, why don't you? I mean, if you want pictures, just go to my post, and there's a bunch of pictures that
I was gonna post all mine, and I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, 3 days went by, and now it's Friday.
No. Yeah, I mean, since I landed, like the last 4 days have just gone by like that. I actually had a day off yesterday that I could have done laundry from the trip, but
But no.
that has not happened yet.
See how this shows up. Yeah. So here's the new flight balls signed, and then there's the MVP trophy in the back, and then the main trophy over here. My arm doesn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool.
Everybody get up, everybody get down, everybody dance to the rhythm. We're gonna ride in the rhythm. Everybody dance to the rhythm too. Everybody get up, everybody get.